Welcome to the Believe in NFL Draft Prospect podcast. It is another interview bringing you closer and closer to the 2022 NFL Draft with some of the outstanding prospects which are a part of the cycle. I have with me Mr. Braxton Jones, offensive tackle, offensive lineman out of Southern Utah, who will be down in Mobile, Alabama just in a few days here. I'm happy that he's able to take a few seconds with me because I know it's about to get real, and I know it's already probably been real with a lot of the training he's doing. But Braxton, appreciate you hopping on, man. How's everything been so far? I know it's early in the process, but how's everything been? Okay.
No, for sure. I appreciate it, Ryan. I'm glad to be on here and talk to you about a few things, but everything's been great. It's just been it's a process, so, just going to weights every day and just kind of, diving into that process and really taking everything you can from, the teaching and making sure you're a good learner and stuff. But as it's so far, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, man. And I definitely want to get in, obviously, the process so far. I see the EXOS shirt, so I'm getting pumped up just kind of thinking about the preparation and everything that we're going to be seeing down in Mobile. For people that haven't seen Braxton up until this point, Southern Utah, left tackle, like I said, big number 77. I think back to the spring, he was 6'6" and some change, 300-plus pounds with, I think, near 35-inch arms. So he kind of checks a lot of boxes, went from a physical perspective and a very good athlete on the level as well. So I'm excited to kind of dig in. I want to start you off. Obviously, I looked into the background, getting prepared for the interview, of course, and I see Murray High School. You're a Utah kid originally. So it makes sense that you might want to stay in states. A lot of great programs, Utah State, Southern Utah. You end up with Southern Utah. So I would just love if you give me a little glimpse into your recruiting and how ultimately you ended up with the Thunderbirds, if I remember that correctly.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, shoot, it was a good process. I mean, as a Utah kid, pretty much every kid in Utah or the Utah Valley is like, they grow up to be like, oh, I want to go to the U of U, right? Like, I want to be a U. And so pretty much my entire time at Murray, I got, small recruiting things from Utah. And I was almost positive, I was going to Utah for sure. But later in like my junior year, I started talking to some D2 schools as of Dixie State, which is now not Dixie anymore. Utah Tech, I believe, and another D2 school that was Colorado Mesa. And I talked to them first, and they were heavily on me. Those two were really on me a lot. And kind of through that process, SUU, I had talked to a coach, Jared Usua, that's now with Weber State. And he talked to me after a game for like 2 hours. And, I basically told him, I'll full ride and I'll be there basically. And so that was like my biggest offer up to date. And then Utah ended up offering me a preferred walk-on. And I was like, anything so my mom doesn't have to pay for my school, and I love football. So let's do it. And I want to get better every day. So ever since that, I went on my visit. The culture was great. I loved it. Just the underdog mentality. You got to work for everything you want there. Like that's a big thing about SUU. And why I love the program is because, you're the underdog. Like, you could win a Big Sky championship. You could, you could have a losing season, and no matter what, you're going to be the underdog. And it's a great mentality to have. And, that's a lot of my success is just being the underdog and having to do more work and really, surprise people with that too. So, but, the process was great. I really enjoyed the recruiting process. I didn't have, those big 5-star recruiting process, but I didn't need that. So, SEU is great to me. So,
yeah, absolutely. And obviously you accomplished a whole lot, a part of the Southern Utah program, which I want to get into. One quick question for Braxton, though, just kind of going off of the underdog mix. It's a little weird, for some people, maybe they're just like, well, this guy's 6'6" plus 300 pounds, about to get drafted into the NFL. Like, what was the reasoning for the underdog? So were you maybe a skinnier guy? Were you a multi-sport athlete? Like, what do you feel like kind of, I don't want to say, what kind of was the reasoning, do you think, that maybe you were a little under-recruited comparative to some?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of reasonings. You could do a lot of blaming, but at the end of the day, I was very a raw athlete that needed a lot of work. I didn't have not necessarily the best coaches or anything like that. It's just like, for a kid like that, you got to have certain things around them to really see him bloom. And so as soon as I got to college, I saw a lot of growth in myself and a constant sightline and progression always. But that's a big thing, is just like, I feel like it wasn't necessarily that I didn't have the height or anything like that, like I do.
Right.
But it's just like I was very raw. I had a lot of technique to work on. So, and that's still the case. Like I just, may be a little bit behind, but, I know what I got to do and stuff like that. So it's just, just kind of diving into that technique. And, I was a smaller offensive lineman in terms of weight. I'd say as in high school, I gained it pretty fast, but, it's just kind of a late bloomer, not really, coaches or anything like that. It just is what it is. You kind of go under the radar, and I like it. Being the underdog is great. Nobody really believes in you. They always think you're going to fail. So you just kind of surprise yourself more than anything, and then you surprise the people that behind you. So, I mean, it was great. I mean, and the underdog process is great to be in. You just surprise people as you go, and it's fun, man. So.
Yeah. Well, you've been surprising a lot, man, because, I mean, your red shirt, you play a little bit your first year, and then you make sophomore All-American, right? And then you make All-American just in general in the spring season, this past spring season. You make All-American again in this fall season. So we're talking about multiple All-Americans back to back to back here in your final season. Just kind of taking a step back maybe for a second, Braxton, because that is phenomenal. Like, not many people can call themselves a 3-time All-American, sophomore All-American, and then 2, first teams, I think, as well. So just kind of taking a step back, seeing what your impact was with the Southern Utah program. Like, how proud are you of the legacy that you left at Southern Utah?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, my SU career was great. I really loved it. A big part of my success was definitely my O-line coach there. He taught me a lot, man. He really helped me dive into my craft. He told me, you can play this game for a long time, Braxton, but you really gotta be. He told me this quote specifically. He was like, when you're green, you grow, and when you're ripe, you rot. And so, like, I just took that to heart, and that's like one of my biggest sayings that I took straight from him, is just like, always be, coachable. Try and find something new. Even like, I have a coach here at EXOS. It's not my O-line coach from school, and it's just like, always trying to find something you can learn from people. Obviously, you might know the basis of, a run block, a pass block, or whatever, but it's just like trying to, grow your game and stuff like that. And that's what I really did at SU. I just, year in and year out, I try to get better every year, every time I got on the field. And, sometimes there was up and downs. When you don't have great seasons, it's tough, but, you battle, you do as much as you can for the team. And, as even a 2-time captain too, you gotta be there for your brothers. And that was a big thing for me, is just, being consistent. And like I said, just always being green. You don't know it all. Nobody knows it all. So just learning as you can go. And I would say that was some of my biggest success, and why I saw those awards towards the end of my career, for sure. I mean, other than that, and just hard work, I would say that as well. So.
Love it, Braxton. And so my final question about just kind of your pathway to a degree, and then we'll get right into the draft process here now, which I know that you're, again, tackling to the best of your ability so far. Excited to get down to Mobile. If there was a football player, or multiple football players, could be past, present, are there some dudes that maybe you watch a ton of film on, that you try to take things from their game, emulate, role models, like whatever you want to quantify it as? Are there guys that you try to model yourself after a little bit?
Yeah, no. For sure. I mean, guys in the league right now, like the Trent Williams, that are very finesse. He's a very finesse tackle. I like his play. He does a lot of great stuff, a lot of cool things that, tackles see, and they're like, dang, how do you do that? Like, so it's pretty cool to see him. And then kind of I think an underdog in the league, but one of my favorite, he's really good, is Colton Miller. His technique is just, he's a technician, and I kind of trying to look at his technique and, put it in some of my game as well. And, he's done a great job as well too. So kind of taking that finesse as a Trent
Mhm.
Williams that does all the all stuff like that, and then taking like a Colton Miller that's very, a technician and just comes back year in and year out and, does his thing. And then, the big dogs like Tristan Wirfs and stuff like that too as well. Just those guys that, are still very young. And then the Trent
Mhm.
Williams, obviously a little bit older in his career, but still just watching their film and kind of looking at that and seeing what they're doing is definitely the guys I look at for sure.
I love it. And now that we're officially in this cycle, I want to ask about EXOS because you have the shirt. Which EXOS are you at to start with, and how long have you been there so far during the process?
No, for sure. Yeah. I'm at the Exos in Phoenix, Arizona, or Scottsdale, kind of around that area. I'm not too familiar with it yet, but
Yeah.
it all seems just combined. But yeah, I'm right there in that area in Arizona. And I've been here for, I think we just finished week 4 here. So
Okay.
next week would be week 5, but I will be going to the Senior Bowl. But yeah, it's been great here. The weather's great. It's nice and sunny outside. So, you know, it is surprisingly cold though. You wake up in the morning and it feels like it's like you can tell it's like cold. It's weird, but you'd never expect it from such a warm place like Arizona. But don't
Yeah.
don't let it fool you.
Yeah, man. I just had one of those. I was down at the College Gridiron Showcase down in Fort Worth, Texas, and it was 50 degrees. I'm like, isn't
Yeah.
Texas supposed to be warm at some point? Like,
Yeah.
and here in New Jersey, we have snow today. We have like 10 inches of snow. So I'm there with you, brother. I'm there with you. And I wanted to ask because you mentioned, entering or finishing up your 4th week, you think, what's kind of the outlook as far as what you're doing on a daily regimen perspective? Like, I know that there's a lot of layers. People think it's just you lifting, doing some field work, and, obviously practicing for those combine pro day drills. But what all goes into just kind of a typical day for Braxton Jones right now?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, shoot, it's a lot more than that for sure. Like you said,
Yeah.
one of the biggest things for me has been nutrition as well, and really working on that body fat and making sure that's decreasing as the weeks go. And I've been really well with that, and kind of just seeing sightline progression throughout the weeks.
Mhm.
Obviously, you don't want to peak right as you get in there. You don't
Yeah.
want to peak halfway through. You want to peak when you get to the combine, right? So
Sure.
that's kind of big too. But seeing those little jumps is good too. Like, but every day, we have the runs in the morning. We're focusing on our 40s, our change of direction thing, 3-cone, all that type of stuff, 5, 10, 5, all that. And then in the afternoon, we'll have a lift. In between that, we have our mills as well as position work with our coach as well. So in the afternoon, we might have some type of meeting as well. Just to clean the other things up and stuff like that. But between that is where the work's done. The PT is huge. A lot of physical therapy. That's a big thing, man. So
Mhm.
that's some advice I'd give to other people is really really focus on that thing. Like it's all done off the field. You could do great doing all that good stuff on and
Mhm.
when you're in the weight room, but you got to take care of your body, make sure you're eating the right things, and then the last one, but not least for sure, is definitely your sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep is huge. It's a struggle sometimes, but making sure you're doing the right things and getting the right amount of sleep so you can recover well. So
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. Is people I feel kind of overlook the recovery process, right? Like
oh, for sure.
you guys are grinding weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and that body gets tired, man. Especially
Yeah,
when you're about to go compete down in Mobile, Alabama, which I want to definitely get to with only a couple questions left for you. I really appreciate all the
yeah,
time,
no worries.
Braxton. Of course. Competition wise, and I know it's not as much competition as like you going up against a defensive lineman on a day-to-day basis, right, in practice, because at Exos, like you kind of got tunnel vision, right? Like you're focusing on yourself, you want to be the best version of yourself. But what's it like just being around? Because Exos obviously has a great tradition. They have a great name in the business. They do it better than anyone as far as the training process. Being around some of the other best athletes across the nation who are on a similar pathway as you, what's it just like kind of seeing other great competitors on a day-to-day basis and maybe testing yourself a little bit and showing that like, hey, this is what I can have. I don't care if I'm coming from FCS or whatever division, like I can play with the big dogs.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's a huge thing, and that's a boost of confidence as well. Just to be around
Yeah.
those guys, these guys that are, from the Georgias. There's
Hmm.
a lot of guys that are here at Exos that I've been, working with or watching working out, and it's just like, you can compete with those guys as well, and they help you get better. You create great friendships with them as well,
Yeah.
and just making sure you guys are feeding off each other in the right way. That's great as well. But I mean, that competition is great. Just seeing those guys and the numbers they put up and being like, okay, let's go, like it gives you that motivation, like I can put up those numbers as well too. I know I'm from a small school or whatever, but let's go, like I can do it too. Like, and so
Yeah.
it's just that's the type of mindset you got to have, and that rolls into more confidence and all that type of stuff. But it's great being here with all those top guys, and just a brotherhood for sure.
Yeah, and I think that my favorite thing for my favorite layer of this year of the Senior Bowl is that this year for FCS offensive linemen is stacked, man. Like on top of yourself, we got guys like Trevor Penny from Northern Iowa and Cole Strange from Chattanooga and Nick Zakel out there from Fordham. Like there's so many talented FCS linemen this year, I think, which is a lot of fun. And I'm saying that to go into Senior Bowl week here, right? So like a two-part question about Senior Bowl. One, what was it like just originally getting that invite? Because I know that had to be like one of the craziest moments of your career as far as just getting that invite to Mobile. And two, just how much are you looking forward to competing down there very, very soon?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, shoot, I was really excited. That's a big accomplishment for anyone if you're
Yeah.
going to a big school or not. I mean, it's just a chance to showcase your talent one last time before the big day and also the combine as well. But I was super excited just to see a lot of hard work and the people around you too that have invested in you, and like your coach,
Mm-hmm.
the O-line family back in SUU, like those people, like that, all of them put into that as well. Like it's cool for other people to see as well, and it's just a great opportunity. And to go into your second question, it's another great opportunity. Like I said,
Yeah.
competing with the best is always great, and that's obviously one of the biggest things. A big knock for my game may be like competition wise, and as far as that goes, obviously you want to go out there and compete and show that you compete with the best. But
Yeah.
not every person's perfect. So I think also one big thing is too is like you could get beat. Yeah, you're gonna get beat sometimes, and it's how you bounce back, like how your mindset is throughout that whole week. Are you seeing sightline progression throughout the whole week? I think
Yeah.
that's huge. Is making sure you come out to practice one day. Okay, you might mess up there, you
Mm-hmm.
come out the next day and do the same thing, because that's
Right.
not showing your progression and getting better. And I think that's what the biggest thing is too, is getting better every day you're there, because
For
that's
sure.
when you do that, then you're just stacking days, and then by the end of the week you're feeling great, and so I think that's huge. Keeping a level mindset through all the meetings and stuff like that, it's just a great opportunity. But you got to make sure you got the right mindset for it as well. So I can't wait. It's going to be great. Leaving out here tomorrow morning, it'll be fun for sure.
Yeah. Now, and I love that. I love that note on the progression because I remember last year Spencer Brown from Northern Iowa, who hadn't played right because the season was canceled. He had a rough first day, and then he just kept getting better and better. And now he's the starting right tackle for the Buffalo Bills as
Yeah.
a rookie.
Dude,
So,
dude is a beast. Yeah, I
yeah,
watched those. I watched those one-on-ones as well, and I watched him progress as well. And that's the way to do it. You might not have the greatest first day. It's been a little bit while since you got some pads on,
for sure.
but how do you respond? Do you curl up in a ball and get all mad, or do you just kind of reflect? You see what you're doing wrong. You watch the film. You come back the
Yep,
next day and you fix it. So
absolutely.
that's what I'm
Yep.
excited to do.
Yep. Not much time to feel sorry for yourself down in
Exactly.
Mobile. Exactly. Last question for you, Braxton. Again, I'm going to get you out of here. Really
Yeah,
appreciate
no
the extra
worries.
time here. Last question is I'm sure that this has probably been a dream of yours for a long time, speaking about the potential to play professional football. So, my two-parter here is for you. When did that first become a dream? And number two is just what type of blessing is it for you to know that just in a few months that could be a reality for you?
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like it is a little kid's dream to always play, a professional sport. But one of
Yeah.
the things I did and led me to this point is like, being being great at what I do. So everything that I do, if I would have chose to be the best attorney or the best, sales, marketing salesperson or whatever, like that's what I kind of, dived into. I always talk about this with my mom because she kind of, engraved this in my head, is just be the best at what you do. So it's not always about, you gotta go to the NFL, right? Or you gotta go to the NBA, or you gotta go to the MLB or something like that. It's just be the best version of you. And so that's like my biggest thing is like I love football, It's it's great playing football, but also I want to be the best version of me. And so that's what I kind of do it for too, is like, I haven't reached my full potential and I haven't seen the best version of Braxton yet. So it's just like coming out and getting better every day. That's like the biggest thing. And the chance to even just get drafted is great too. But I think even, some people misinterpret like getting drafted and they're like, oh, I got drafted, I made it.
Over.
No, that's just the start. And so that's another thing is like, making sure you're getting better all the time, and you're not just like looking forward to the draft. You're looking forward to make rosters and make teams after that, and play for a long time. So that's like my goal. My dream is to actually go to the league and play and be sufficient, like help a team out, right? So I think that's the biggest thing. And it's just great to be in this position, man. There's a lot of people that want to be in this position, and so when you go out there every day and everyone has that thought of like, oh man, this is gonna be hard, but like you're in a position that not a lot of people are in, so that's a drive. And that's why I would say like it's just trying to be the best version of Braxton Jones. That's what I'm doing at the end of the day.
I love that, man. Again, joined by Braxton Jones, offensive tackle out of Southern Utah, 2022 NFL draft prospect. If you're listening now, he's probably already competing down in the Senior Bowl as we speak, putting together a great week to continue his massive rise amongst the class. Braxton, this was awesome, man. Live from EXOS, getting ready for the Senior Bowl. I know it's really busy time, brother, but I appreciate so much just for the time you gave me today.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Ryan.